Well, they're on a roll at the moment, the Irish. They've lost only one of their last 6 internationals, and that was that 20 points to 22 defeat by Tonga 2 weeks ago. Of course, they're going into this game on the back of that magnificent 34-16 win over Samoa last week. They've shown they can stand up to the big guns. They're not the biggest side in the competition, the Irish, but they have shown great heart, and they need to do so again here tonight as the game is underway. Ashley Klein, the referee, and he knows these Fijians well. He knows the Irish players well as well, but he refereed Fiji's game against the Scots, and a fiery affair that was. And I suspect there might be a bit of fieriness early on, Steve-O.
I really feel that Ireland have to play very, very solid in the middle. We know what the Fijians are capable of. They love to keep this ball alive. They take so many risks. And when you do that at top international level, you can come up with plenty of errors.
And the first kick of the game, and just for a moment I thought Griggs was going to come up with a 40-20 with his first kick. But here's Jared Hayne, one of the most experienced players in this side, only 20 years of age, but a former Kangaroo. He played for Australia against New Zealand last year, did Jared Hayne, Parramatta player. He takes the first hit up for them, and then a familiar figure for Super League followers of Semi Tadulala. Bradford's Semi Tadulala plays the ball then. Here's Ashton Sims, Brisbane Bronco, up to the halfway line. Sims. Ben Harrison in with the tackle. Groom. And that's Sevenaya Koroi, who's wearing 18, started the game, was supposed to be on the bench, but promoted from the bench, has to keep his pre-match numbering, Koroi, so he's in 18. That's the 5th tackle. Ireland restricting Fiji's progress, but the kick to come, and Groom will put it in. Aaron Groom, and the ball's gone backwards. Finnegan on the chase, and it's 6 to go, says Ashley Klein. So Ireland made a play for that ball, and here's Wes Nagama, the captain, and Nagama back in field, and this is where they're threatening. Nagama is threatening. Nagama for the first try of the game, is he? He's over that try line. Has he got the ball down? He has, says Ashley Klein. Ireland thought they'd close that kick down, but the ball rebounding, and Wes Nagama, the captain, having the pace and then the strength, despite the Irish challengers, to get over the try line, and they look to the heavens early on here.
Well, here's the charge down from Ireland. Finnegan does his job, doesn't he? He puts pressure on the kicker, but unfortunately for the Irish, they can't get their hands on the ball. And then all of a sudden, you see a man here in the number 3 jersey, just appears to be running faster and more powerful than anybody else on the field. Look at the speed. He's accelerating away from Richards at that stage, crashes into Blanche, and then crashes over the try line. Excellent positioning from the referee to be in front to see it, any possible grounding. Groom does well, doesn't he? After the kick's put down, he did not panic. He made sure he got back, got his hands on the ball, and then released the power and pace out wide. Nagama didn't need the wingman. He had the individual brilliance to come back and score close to the post. Perfect beginning there in the first 2 minutes of Fiji.
And Wes Nagama will attempt to add the extras to his own try, the Newcastle Knights player. And he's a pretty accurate kicker as well. He kicked 7 from 10 in the big win over France that got Fiji's campaign underway. He's kicked that one as well. And Fiji off to the best possible start. Ireland off to the worst possible start for them. They needed to really get a grip on this Fijian side and to prevent them doing exactly what they did there. And Joe Dakitoga, the coach, well, he didn't look it, but he must be pretty satisfied with that.
He certainly will, but Ireland really fell for the sucker punch there. Okay, they got the ball back, did Fiji. They got the extra 6, but a lot of the players just stopped. They thought perhaps it was a knock-on. Not good play in defence from Gleeson and Littler, and Michael Platt left Nagama an open run. Can't afford to do that. Got to make sure you get down low.
Well, they didn't start that well against Samoa either, but they came good in that game. Can they do that again tonight? Long way to go here.
Interesting to contrast the differing starts. The Northern Hemisphere sides, France and Scotland, struggling against Polynesian opponents in that opening quarter. You have to get the ball and you have to get out to your half. I know Ireland haven't had much chance of possession, but the clearing runs weren't quite strong enough.
Bakaya in possession for the Fijians, and Ireland really have hardly had their hands on the ball. Here's Ashton Sims. Good work from the Broncos second rower. That's the 5th tackle though. And the ball is back with Groom, and Groom again puts the kick in. And Damien Blanche across the field that one. Now then, the Irish have their hands on the ball. They need a good set of 6 here.
They've got to settle down a little bit, just work their way back into the game. Okay, bit of a shock. A little bit rusty out wide in that centre position. They've got to make sure that they get that sorted out. And what about Damien Blanche? What a World Cup this guy's having.
Absolutely. He's got a hat-trick, of course.
And this is a tactic that I think Ireland have employed successfully in the World Cup. Going down the middle of the field to tire their opponents out. There's sometimes a tendency when you play against a bigger opposition to try and pass the ball and go to the space out wide. Ireland won't do that here. They're going to take Fiji on down this middle channel.
Liam Finn puts the kick in. It's into the hands of Tadulala, and he hit that one at pace. Not the best kick from Liam Finn there. It could have been ugly, that. Tadulala, though, was stopped in his tracks.
And the thing is, he was not put under pressure. So he could have really selected a better position, take nothing away from Tadulala, read it well.
There's Asea Sadrau. Sadrau starting the game in place of Diva Vese, the prop forward who scored in the last game. Big rumbling prop forward Diva Vese, but he was given a 2-match ban for tripping against the Scots. And he appealed against that this morning. The appeal failed, so Sadrau is in the starting lineup. Here's Jared Hayne. Hayne stabs the kick in. It's a good one up the line. And Luate is chasing it. Luate was chasing that one, but the ball finding touch and goal.
Well, that's a massive relief for Ireland there, not to have to bring it ball back from inside their own goal area, or in fact close to the try line. But look what sort of speed they're able to get in here. At the moment, 4 Fijian defenders. More aggression, I think, in their defence than that from Ireland.
Yeah, quick turnaround for both these sides. Just 5 days since they last played, and for the Fijians, it's 3 games in the space of 10 days for them. And last, we're hearing the Irish support. The Irish fans finding their voices. Maybe some of them have taken a bit of time to get up here.
Well, I think Ireland thought it'd be a little bit easy to get over the advantage line, but full credit to the Fijian pack. They're getting there in numbers, and that is heavy defence.
Bricks felt that. They're going down the short side with Bezic. Duran, Blanche is away. Gleeson's pass. Blanche needs some support. He's going to take on it. He's going to go all the way. What a try. What a World Cup Damien Blanche is having. What a World Cup the Wakefield Flyer is having.
Let's have a look on that touchline.
Ashley Klein, coolness personified, says, let's have a look at the touchline. Let's have a look at the dead ball line. Did he get too close for comfort?
I think we're going to see a great game of rugby league here tonight. I think this is the second score inside the first 8 minutes, and what a brilliant piece of skill this is. To see the space down the short side, the wonderful skill had taken place before that to transfer the ball to Blanche so quickly. He looked on the inside for support, actually decelerated to a certain point, and then when realised he was on his own, pressed the accelerator again and has scored without any doubt at all, closer to the post to make this kick that much easier.
Well, a hat-trick already in the World Cup. 2 hat-tricks in the colours of Ireland, Damien Blanche. That's his 7th try for Ireland in just 6 appearances. And that is the sort of try that will galvanise a side, that's for sure.
It's an amazing thing about World Cups. This is the decision.
Video ref Phil Cooley awards the try as expected to Damien Blanche. And
Mr.
what a
Kelly
response that is. What a response.
Mr. Kelly will be very happy. They took the gamble on the short blind side. Superb hands. But this is where a winger comes into his own. You see how it just came in on an arc, looked as though he was going to try to step, and then just went round the fullback. Absolutely superb play. Quick hands. They didn't expect that. They're anticipating a charge down the middle, and that is a wonderful winger's try. It's brought the best out of him, this fella, this World Cup. He's loving it. They ain't.
And Pat Richards, who set a new World Cup points in a game record last time out, on target from the word go here, and we're back to all square, 6 points apiece.
Well, the Irish hooker Bob Bezic only played a small part in that try, but it was probably the most important part, Bill. His eyes spotted the short side numbers there. Fiji one man short with just that middle land, and they were able to get the ball to Blanche, who is their form player, you'd have to say. Get the ball to your best players in the big games and see if they can come up with the goods.
Bezic, Duran and Gleeson, the creators of that try that has got Ireland back to 6 points apiece. Well, that was a bit sloppy. Fortunately, Fiji weren't there in time to capitalise on it, and Gareth Hegarty picks it up. Referee Ashley Klein calls held. Hegarty plays the ball, and Gareth Hegarty, a bit of an injury doubt going into this game, and he got up from playing that ball actually a little bit gently. Ireland then having to work this ball out from deep in their own half. Finnegan, Ashton Sims there to make the tackle. Grix, here's Eamon O'Carroll. That's the 5th tackle. Fiji pinning Ireland down deep in their own territory. Needs to be a good kick from Grix, and it's comfortably dealt with by Jared Hayne. Hayne runs it back, but he's met by the Irish defenders.
Well, they're going to go like for like, haven't they? We've seen Fiji looking so hard to make life difficult for Ireland to go forward. But I suppose once you're up towards the halfway line, I don't know, the meters seem to come a little easier. Hayne goes straight, direct route at Grix, who kicked the ball. And the power of these big men are just forcing the Irish players to cling on as best possible.
Uwati was strong with the run, so too is Jason Bukuya. And Ashley Klein not falling for that one.
That's good refereeing as well. Oh, beautiful play there.
And they were almost through with Noilia. And they're on the roll. It's on the last here. Hayne gets the ball away. Sadrau driving for the line. Are they going to be able to hold him up on the last?
I'll give you the opportunity first.
Good work by Simon Finnegan.
The penalty, Steve-O.
Took the advantage. He allowed the play to go on, but beautiful run by the standoff, Noile. Look at the skill factor here. Good job that Platt was equal to it.
Stay on the line.
And he's allowing the advantage, but non-forthcoming, so therefore the penalty. They've gone for the quick tap.
Sims went charging onto that ball, hoping to catch the Irish cold, but Lee Duran stood his ground. Sims wrestles his way free and then has a little snap at Gleeson after the ball is gone. Noilia, 2 tackles gone. Test for the Irish defence. Sukanaveta, he gets the ball away. And then it's knocked on by Jared Hayne. And they can be prone to the odd error. Well, more than the odd error. The Fijians made 18 in the last game.
Well, it was Ireland's ability to defend their goal line against Samoa that has put them into this match. And again, they look strong. They had Finn in front of Hayne, the right sort of numbers. The only worrying aspect here for Andy Kelly on the side is that almost 75% of this match has been played in Ireland's half of the field. And rugby league tends to be a territorial battle. Ireland need to get some of the game in the other half of the pitch.
They've got to be very careful as well, Phil, in regards to that the fullback Haynes. He loves nothing better than to come outside the centre, Wesnagwama. And we've already seen Ireland have been caught out on that left-hand side defensively. Oh, that's a poor ball. Should never have been offloaded.
It's come up for Fiji. And they're going to try and get this ball wide. Ireland quickly up to close down the options. Koroi plays the ball. Here's Vunamatatoru. Or Vunamattaratu. That pronunciation could change a few times during the course of the evening. 2 tackles gone, and Ireland under a real pressure here. Is Ashton Sims once more, and again Sims thundering the ball up the middle of the field. And again, he's taking him on. Took on Bob Bezic then. Noilia, eventually they get him down. He almost managed to find Jared Hayne. Just 4 tackles gone. Aaron Groom trying to put the step on, and Groom has almost got away. They eventually get a hold of him. That's the 5th tackle. Can they escape from this? Vunamattaratu puts the kick in. He's chasing it himself. In the end, it's Platt who manages to hack the ball clear.
I think Ireland were hoping they weren't going to have to defend as long in their own zone as they did against Samoa. But they've started this game rather poorly, really. A mistake inside their own half, an inability to get the ball downfield, either through runs or kicks. He's putting them under massive strain already.
Good work though, wasn't it, from the prop forward, Vuonamatulatu, mainly due to the fact that the man playing the ball, Aaron Groom, he's their major kicker, and it was the prop forward that did a good one there. Platt had to be aware.
Richards again getting fantastic distance on that kick. But Jared Hayne obviously knew what was coming. He was well positioned to take that one. You saw Ryan Tandy getting ready to come on. Had a big game against Samoa last time out for the Irish, Tandy did. Well, he's on the sidelines, waiting to come on. Sadrow now. Game being played at Skilled Park here on the Gold Coast. Magnificent stadium. This is a real lesson in how to build a state-of-the-art stadium. The local authority and the Queensland government responsible for this. Semi Tajulala across the field. Sims takes that ball and it's left Bezic on the ground. Bezic's getting to his feet. It really was ball and all. Here's Aaron Groom. Groom again looking for the gap. He's found it. Aaron Groom. What defence that was from Platt. What great defence from Platt.
Littler's come up with it. Boy, it looked as though he was going to go in at the corner. Platt had to take him, and the ball ricocheted away, and the centre, Stuart Littler, saved the day.
Well, under pressure here, you have to survive. They've done that, but can they clear downfield? Just look at Fiji's intensity in defence. Here's the run. Look, he just pauses, then goes through Finn's tackle, presses hard from the line. Platt pulls him down, back up on his feet, juggles and loses the ball for Littler to dive on.
And it gets better for the Irish because they get the penalty, and again it was great work from Damien Blanche, who got them out of their 30, and then the penalty is awarded to the Irish.
He just works overtime, this fella, Damien Blanche. It's amazing what a World Cup, you bring out so many youngsters and so many players perhaps not known worldwide, but Damien Blanche has really made a name for himself here.
Here's Ben Harrison, another one of the players who's really benefited from this experience. They'll go home with so much more to add to their game with some of these players. Here's Ryan Tandy now. So Ireland have survived on their own try line. Can they now hit the other end of the field? They're only about 10 metres out. Finnegan now finds Finn. Finn to Grix. They're stacked up deep. Here's Platt joining in with the attack. Oh, that's a bad pass from Platt, and it's snapped up by the Fijians. It's snapped up by Jason Bakuya.
Well, the timing was all right, wasn't it, in that backline shot? Passing the ball, having numbers running into holes, but at the wrong time. And then I don't know whether there's sort of pressure really because they'd pre-rehearsed the play to pass the ball. That tends to happen sometimes. There wasn't real fluency, was there, as you tend to see when Australia move the ball wide.
Very poor to do an inside pass when you're doing it blind. You didn't know whether there's anybody there. It's a good job that Scott Grix, the standoff, got back quickly enough.
Bill, that's an example. Fiji realise that rugby league at this level is about field position. Playing the game as much as you possibly can, as far away from your try line as you possibly can.
Good run from Richards, though, returning that kick. Here is Platt. Makes some yards, 2 tackles gone. And Ben Harrison now. Up to the halfway line, the Irish come.
That's good work as well. Hard work from the forward. They're over the halfway line. Oh, what a hit there.
But Tandy felt that. He then got some extras from Noelia. Didn't like that. And the kick into the corner. Very coolly done by Jared Hayne. Took that with one hand. There's Alipati Noelia.
And that's the best starting position, isn't it, that Ireland have been in this game. They've turned the ball over to the opponents, but never in this sort of position. Can they focus here now for 6 tackles? 2 already gone, halfway through the set.
The Fiji in possession deep in their own half. The Irish, though, already have problems. Let's go down to the sidelines here from Ben Pro.
You speculated about the condition of Gareth Haggerty, Bill. Ryan Tandy coming on a few moments ago to replace him. He came into this game carrying a knock. It's a left shoulder problem. He had a pain-killing injection before the game. He's had to come off after that tackle, and the Irish medical team just waiting to see if he can continue later in this game.
That is a blow for the Irish because Gareth Haggerty has had a big World Cup as the Harlequins player. Really shown up strongly, and Michael Platt took his time.
He's such a casual player, too casual at times.
But Haggerty on the sideline at the moment.
What about the workload from this standoff, Alipati Noile? Not only does he do it with ball in hand, he works overtime in defence.
6 points apiece here at the Skilled Stadium. Ireland going behind early on, but then this guy, Damien Blanche, getting them back into the game with a wonderful try.
Well, that looks high. Was it Tandy who crashed down? The Irish supporter on the far side of the ground, appealing for a penalty.
Finn's kick is another wasted opportunity to try and turn this Fijian side round.
They can't afford to be doing that. Right down the throat of his fullback, Jared Haynes. It's such a talent.
Well, that's what they wanted, and Finn has picked it back up. And then they get the penalty, and eventually Ashley Klein is going to have a word with somebody because there was a use of a knee there. Well, that's about the third tackle in a row that the Fijians have gone in late.
Well, Jared Hayne, after they've lost the ball here, he sort of comes over. I don't know if it's his foot or his knee there. Look.
Well, that's a Cumberland throw. I thought that was banned.
Went over the top of Liam Finn.
And Ashley Klein is still having a word with Jared Hayne, telling it was dangerous. Well, this could be dangerous, and that's another penalty. Fiji stole that ball in the tackle. And now they're feeling the pressure. Back-to-back penalties for the Irish. We've seen this before. We saw it with Tonga. Couldn't keep their discipline.
Silly play by Jason Bukia, the loose forward. He's put a lot of pressure on his own teammates.
Tandy plays that ball. Eamon O'Carroll driving for the try line, the Wigan prop. He's driven back, though, eventually by the Fijians. But they're right underneath those posts. Again, they go short. Tandy will try his luck. But can Tandy get over? He's just short.
What an effort from the scrum half, Aaron Groom. How on earth did he stop the big fella? Ball and all.
Tandy gets to his feet. Plays the ball. Will they go out wide this time, or will Grix take them on? Grix gets the ball away to the fullback, Platt. Platt, nice pass from him. Fitzpatrick puts the kick in, but it's comfortably dealt with by Semi Tajilala.
Well, it didn't appear as though Ireland had the necessary skill to get the ball to some space out wide, break through the Fijian defence. They were brave and aggressive runs in the middle of the field.
Just panic.
It was a little hurried, wasn't it? The kick stabbed through to Tajilala. Good game though, great opening quarter.
And this time it's the Irish. Weren't square. I think Lee Duran was the culprit.
They're just getting a little bit too excited, Ireland. They knew they were in a pretty good position in regards to popping over for try number 2, but you can see there that Lee Duran did not get back the required 10. It wasn't even square at the play the ball area. I've been impressed with this fella, Ashton Sims. He's a toughie.
Blood coming from his ear by the look of things for Ashton Sims. And was there another problem for the Irish? Because Lee Duran seemed to be just clutching his wrist after that penalty was awarded. And here is Sims. 2 tackles gone. He'll play the ball just inside the Irish 20. Groom again, busy. Bezic with the tackle. Harrison helping him out. Aaron Groom once more. Groom back up the middle of the field to the captain Wes Nakama, who got the first try of the game. He'll play off. Was that a little knock on?
Yes,
It was from Sukanaveta. I spoke about the errors. They made 18 handling errors in the game against Scotland and they lost it.
Well, some congratulations all around here now for Ireland. Again, they're building in confidence, recognising that even when Fiji get close to the try line, they've got the organisation, strength and discipline to see them off.
Yeah, the Scots got in the face of these Fijian players and won that one 18-16. An historic night for Scottish Rugby League, that was. Their first ever World Cup win. Ollie Wilkes with the late try, Danny Brough with the conversion, and the Scots were celebrating. OK, the World Cup ended with that heavy defeat, but they got the win they wanted. And it was against Fiji, so it showed that this Fijian side can be beaten. France didn't know how. France were on the receiving end of that 42-6 defeat. Fitzpatrick. The game just calming down a little bit after that frantic opening salvo.
Well, one thing we've seen from Ireland, Bill, they're able to convert the chances into tries. It's what gave them such a resounding victory over Samoa. And they've had one chance to score in this game, and they came up with 6 points.
It was played at, says Ashley Klein. Grix breathes a sigh of relief. That kick was charged down by the Fijians, and Ireland will get head and feet at the scrum.
Well, the charge down kick, which Samoa benefited from earlier, was scored by a try with the Gama. Here it'll just be another 6 tackles for Ireland.
I think the officials got it right as well. Ashley Klein could see that Ashton Sims had gone, okay, he turned his body, but once you raise your arm, that's attempting to have a charge down.
Well, Fitzpatrick seemed to be taken high there. Referee said play on. Littler on the halfway line.
I've been impressed with Ashley Klein as well, because he realises that a lot of these players have played several games and they will be tired. He's allowing them a little bit of latitude, but not on that occasion. They put all over him.
Well, Simon Finnegan's the player who's received the penalty. You have to be impressed with the Irish back row. Harrison, Duran and Finnegan, all high, heavy work rate in defence and carrying the ball.
This is an interesting decision that they're going to go for the 2 points. We know the quality of this guy, Pat Richards, but it's about 41 metres out.
Oh, it's well within his range. Pat Richards, this one will still be going up when it goes over the posts.
I think it may be a ploy as well from Kelly in regards to, okay, they've been put under the cosh a little bit. Haven't had possession for quite some time, just a couple of errors, and maybe it's just time to take a breather, Phil.
Do you think everyone starts the game thinking it's going to be a high-scoring match, and then when you sort of get into it and you realise that both defences are pretty strong, maybe you respect and value the opportunity for 2 points far more?
I think they've run out of energy, both sides. They really have given it to each other in the opening.
And it's a warm evening. It's been a breezy day on the Gold Coast, but the temperature has been high. Oh, Richards has missed that one. It was still going up, but it was wide of the target.
They'll still get possession back from the dropout. It was a gamble.
Player being treated. And just getting strapped up. It's Jason Bakuya, I think.
Let's go.
No, it's Sevenar Koroi, in fact, who's had the bandaging applied. So Jared Hayne will launch this one from his own 20-metre line. It's a good kick as well. Richards retreating to take that around his own 20 and then turns and finds the Fijians waiting for him. So Ireland back in possession. Eamon O'Carroll, and Sims went looking for him and he found him. Eamon O'Carroll has had to be very patient at Wigan, a bench regular for them, but he's been a mainstay of the Irish pack effort in this World Cup.
And he's had to play above his weight, hasn't he, up against bigger, stronger, and sometimes much more experienced front rowers. I think Eamon O'Carroll's done incredibly well for Ireland so far in this World Cup.
Tadulala was all over Gleeson then. Gleeson got the ball, and in an instant Tadulala was on him. Here's Duran again. They're looking to try and get him to the touchline, but the Lee player goes to ground. Had a good season, Lee Duran. Well, they might not be one of the biggest World Cup crowds here, but they're making plenty of noise, and it's echoing around this wonderful stadium with its enclosed ceiling, if you like, that curves around the ground. And the noise stays inside it. Here's Semi Tadulala, picks up a bit of pace, gets up to his 20-metre line. McAlorum was there with the tackle.
And it might have taken 25 minutes, but Ireland have got control of this arm wrestler going out there. They've been told that they can't bring the player down by his head. In fact, it was Toro, wasn't it, who carried the ball. Michael McAlorum's. In fact, Ryan Tandy uses his head as a lever to ground the player. And Ireland are penalised for that, but they seemed as though they had Fiji under control.
Yeah, they'd had a good spell there, the Irish. And now Fiji will take play up to the halfway line, although not the best kick from Aaron Green. Looks a bit nonchalant about it, as one of the Fijian players has treatment, and they've immediately lost possession. And this is what the Irish did against Samoa. They did so well against the Samoans.
Nagao, the substitute, Probably a little bit rusty, but that's just how you get underneath it. You hit the contact to the ball carrying arm. Good work by Simon Finnegan. This is the one area that Ireland can get on top. Some crunching defence. Oh, shocking pass.
Well, Littler was there to retrieve it for the Irish, but they've lost momentum there and they've knocked it on. Littler adjudged to have lost that ball.
I think it should have been a penalty anyway, Bill. The Fijian backs set off before the ball had been moved from the scrum. And look, Ireland lost 10 metres on the scrum play anyway. There's almost no advantage. Then they lose possession.
So, scrappy couple of plays there, first from the Fijians and now from the Irish. Fiji head and feet at the scrum on the Irish 40-metre line.
I think it's becoming quite obvious now that either side, there won't be many opportunities to score. You've got to make sure that if you make that half break, you've got this good support play there and you put points on the board.
Vula Nagau plays that ball, making his World Cup debut from the bench. Nagau. Here's Sims. Sims plays the ball. Storer now off the bench. Storer to Groom. Groom to Nakami. He'll play the ball. Ireland's... Oh, another fumble. Was it? Play on, says the referee. That looked like a fumble. Still going. It's the winger Uati. He'll get the try, but surely Ashley Klein will have a look at that. Well, Joe Dakitoga again unmoved. Fiji celebrates.
He's given it.
And Ashley Klein immediately awards that try.
Well, just as the first try came through some individual brilliance, Wes Nagama was the man responsible for that. Here you've had a player stood on the wing, hasn't had much chance to get his hands on the ball, just runs from acting halfback and individually decides to score a try for his country. Breaks through the tackle of Tandy. Too fast, too strong and too powerful here for Ireland to handle. Look, dangerous on those feet because he skips and jumps and changes direction so quickly, but then steps off the left foot inside Lee Durant and crashes through a tiring Irish defence. There's no knock on at all there. Look, skips across, waits till he thinks he sees the hole and then pushes hard through it and pushes for a second score for the Batties.
That was very poor defence indeed. Lee Doran and Ryan Tandy, they went high. When you've got a winger coming at you like that, and I think they hesitated. They anticipated that the official Ashley Klein was going to blow for a knock on. It wasn't. It was just a little bit of a misplay the ball actually. He probably poked his foot onto it twice and the winger took full advantage.
Uati with the try, got a hat-trick against the French in that 42-6 win. He's lightning fast, and Wes Nagama adds the extras. Fiji go 12-6 ahead here, so after a real period of stalemate, half an hour gone and Fiji back in front.
Well, it looks like a combination of Martin Offiah and Jason Robinson at their peak. He has the pace of Martin Offiah and then the elusiveness of a Jason Robinson. He'll aggressively push in between two defenders, just like the try back in the 1998 grand final that Robinson scored for Wigan, drifting across field until he sees a hole, recognises it and puts Fiji ahead again.
But Ireland responded well last time. Can they do so again this time? Of course, the winners heading for the semi-finals. For the nation that goes through, it'll be the first ever opportunity to contest a Rugby League World Cup semi-final. What an incentive that is for these two sides, and a lot of Irish people I've been speaking to suggesting that this, if Ireland go through, they would be the first Irish side from any major sport to get through to a World Cup semi-final. They go back to 1990 and Jack Charlton's quarter-final side in Italia. They failed. Can this Irish side get there? Well, they've got some work to do here.
They've got to improve in their defensive patterns. They cannot afford to let people run at them, and they're just falling off the would-be tacklers. They've got to make sure one goes low, the other one comes in and tries to stop the offload.
Fiji may be sensing that the Irish are running out of gas a bit.
Well, their hunger to defend, Fijian hunger to defend, is visibly different to that from the Irish side. Ireland have missed twice as many tackles as the Fijians at present, but it's just really their effort. Look how quickly they get up off the defensive line. It was the same from the scrum when Littler came up with the error. And from that point, really they've been under pressure. A good run down the far side of the field.
But Ben Harrison might be heading for the sidelines. He does well to stay in the field of play.
This kick has to make sure it hits the ground, not down the throat of Jared Haynes.
Well, Richards has got plenty of height on that, and it's into no man's land, really, and they've let that one bounce, and Gleeson taps it on to Blanche, but Blanche has knocked that one on, and then Gleeson is offside, I think. A messy ending there.
Well, it wasn't the best kick. Okay, we were stating that they hadn't got to get it down the throat of the fullback Haynes, but it went virtually straight up. They've got to somehow, Ireland, start turning this Fijian side around. They're failing to do that.
It's almost impossible, Bill, to get a good kick at the end of a set when you've been going backwards and struggling to make ground, and that's why the kicks look so poor for Ireland. Fijian defence is just far superior.
On the charge now with Semisi Tora. Plays for the Parks Spaceman out in country New South Wales, and Parks, a town famous for the movie that was made about it, The Dish, an Australian classic film that was. Well, that wasn't classic from Fiji, and Ireland have it back. That's exactly what the Irish wanted.
Well, nice counter play there by Michael Platt, looking to get across field and find some space. I think both of these sides looking to press now and impress before this half-time break. Just about 5 minutes to go here now, a significant point in the game.
Rick's nearly losing his cool there in the tackle. They've got to keep their cool. Here's Tandy. It's a good run from him. Up to the halfway line.
Much better.
And Damien Blanche again. A real thorn in this Fijian side, Damien Blanche. Already got a marvellous try under his belt here tonight. Fitzpatrick looks around and then sees the opportunity maybe for a kick. Oh, Tajalala's knocked that one on. Ireland will get that ball back. Semi Tajalala couldn't take that kick from Fitzpatrick, and Ireland will get another set of 6.
This is where they've got to get the 10 pegs out. They've got to camp down there and make sure at least get a second set of 6.
Big night for Jed Corcoran there, returning to action for this Irish side. You saw him in possession. The Sheffield Eagles player. Here goes Damien Blanche again. He's got the scent of tries in his nostrils in this World Cup as Damien Blanche. Here's Tandy. Tandy pops it up and Finnegan takes the tackle. Does well to hold on to the ball. 4 tackles gone. Griggs will take him on, and Griggs is over the try line for another Irish try. And again, they've responded in fantastic fashion of the Irish. And the captain, Scott Griggs, gets the try for Ireland to bring it back to 12-10 with the kick to come.
Well, there hasn't been a lot of great team play in the build-up to this. There were individual efforts. The knock-on from Temi Tajalala gave them the field position and 6 more runs at the Fijian line. And Griggs just steps inside. It's lovely positioning, doesn't he? It looks as though he's going to drift outside 17 Tora, and then steps back against his flow. His momentum then can't change direction quickly enough, and he's then inside of Hayne, able to ground the ball. Good comeback.
And there is Wakefield's Scott Griggs, and has done a good job at the standoff role for Ireland in this World Cup competition. Not from position he's over familiar with, but you wouldn't know it from his performances so far in the World Cup. Now Pat Richards, they need him to land this kick, and he did get that record World Cup points tally of 22 in the game against Samoa. He could have had an awful lot more. He missed 5 from 10 in that game. And he wasn't happy with himself afterwards either. You'd think after a performance like that he would have been, but not by his standards. So Richards, this to level the scores just towards the end of the first half. Oh! And Richards bangs the upright. 12-10 to Fiji the score. If this game ends as a draw after 80 minutes, we go to golden points.
You would have put your house on this, wouldn't you? But good play though by Ireland. They made sure from the error from Tajalala, and you could see there that Semisi Tora, he didn't have any balance, he couldn't get any weight on his feet to put the hit on, and it just shows you the one thing. After 4 or 5 attempts kicking the ball right down Jared Haynes, the fullback's throat, They kick to Semi Tadjalala, comes up with the error. The message is well and truly on the wall. More to Mr. Tadjalala, thank you.
We've got to get up the other end of the field first. And Fiji looking to restrict their progress from the restart. So Griggs with the try that has closed the gap again. Tandy, 2 tackles gone, and Fiji there in numbers to stop his progress. The former Whitehaven Widners man, Ryan Tandy. That's good work from Jed Corcoran. You wouldn't know that it was back at the end of July that he last played a competitive game for the Eagles.
Got a bad knock as Ryan Tandy's a little bit dazed at the moment.
Just inside their own 40, and Griggs has gone for a 40-20.
And he's got it. And he's got it on the back of some good strong runs. First by Corcoran, then by Pat Richards. And that's why kicks look better. When your teammate carries the ball, gets up quickly to play it, offers the kicker a far stronger platform. Look, the opposition aren't in his face. He's running forward, he's relaxed, he has time, and he perfectly puts the ball over the 20-metre line in the field of play to offer his side now a minute, probably 6 plays, a full set, looking to go in at half-time in the lead.
Scores the try, then lands the 40-20 that puts Ireland in this great position towards the end of the first half. Just a minute to go.
Let's hope that they don't panic. Remember, earlier in this World Cup, they did panic with a few seconds remaining, and they kicked right from the scrum. When now they'll take the charge, try to go to the sticks, and then whip the ball out wide.
They don't have to score here. It'd be great if they did. Here's Littler. Littler gets the ball wide to Richards. Richards has lost it. Went backwards, says the referee. No, he doesn't. That was just wishful thinking.
Pretty solid defence, and Pat Richards knows he got one for his corner as well. He certainly was a meat in the sandwich then. Was it high? Well, it certainly looked that way. Uate's left arm appeared to be on the top of the shoulder. And not surprisingly, Pat Richards has a look at Ashley Klein and said, "You've got to be kidding."
Well, problems for the Irish because Ryan Tandy can't pack down at this scrum at the moment. He's got blood coming from his nose, I think it is.
He got a real wallop earlier, Bill.
Come on.
He was in Disneyland for a while. Probably still is.
Now he's getting treated. Get in here, Simon.
So Ireland reluctant to pack the scrum down.
Second row. That's it.
I think relieved, Bill, that having had less possession and inside their own half for so much this game, only 2 points behind, they've done well because in the opening quarter the Fijians almost blew them off the field.
Out.
Well, eventually Ireland have the right numbers for the scrum, and Fiji looking to end the first half with a flourish. The ball flown back in field. It's going to come into Irish hands. Oh no, what are they doing now? You'd think it was only a minute to go at the end of the game, but it's just the end of the first half, and what a first half it has been, with Fiji racing into an early lead and Ireland coming back strongly as they had to again after Uate scored on the half-hour mark. Blanche with a wondrous try for the Irish, and then Griggs towards the end of the first half have made it so close at the break. Just 2 points in it here on the Gold Coast, and Ireland still very much in the hunt for a semi-final place. Yes, Ireland 40 minutes away from what would be the greatest achievement in the short history of rugby league in Ireland, if they can get past this Fijian side. But it's going to take an almighty effort, because it is just as big a deal for Fiji, of course. And the word is, you know, such is the interest in Fiji, they've had to import more dishes for the telly-mad public to watch this game. They ran out of dishes to sell in Fiji, so they had to send out an SOS for reinforcements as Ireland relaunch the game with that restart, and Jared Hayne runs it back.
Just like in the first half, he was able to make metres in collision, wasn't he, after hitting the men. Can Ireland sort of start to win this physical battle when the two players collide? Can the Irish player force the Fijian backwards?
Ashton Sims, he seems to have had a bandage or plaster applied to that cut on his ear. Similarly, Ryan Tandy back outside, back out there and making the tackle. Good defence by the Irish there.
It had to be for the next 39 minutes, Bill, because in that first half, 16 missed tackles, can't afford to do that. And I thought the kick and chase game was very poor. Time and time again, they kicked it right down to the fullback, Jared Haynes. What they've got to do, they've got to kick towards the two wingers, Tadjalala.
Noelia with the kick ahead, and Richards has spilled it. Fiji are going to get the ball back. And the kick, it was initially from Noelia, who chased it. And it's now in possession of Sukanaveta. So error there from the Irish gives Fiji a great platform at the start of this second half. Are they over the try line? I think it's Millard who's at the bottom of that.
Get the second tackle. Just check to see the grounding.
It is Millard underneath that who burst onto the ball, but did they manage to keep him off the ground?
Well, it's disappointing from an Irish perspective if Fiji have scored here. Storer perhaps, who's crashed through from the dummy half position, but you'd have to say perhaps fair play. They were enterprising in that last tackle, kick over the top. They then hacked it forward again and it gave them possession.
I don't think he's got it down. I think they've got underneath him. Great work by Finnegan, drags the arm back. I don't think he gets the... Platt goes underneath. Now they do often, especially in Australia, give the benefit of the doubt to the attacking side, but I think that is no try.
And Finnegan and James Storer just exchanging a word there, and it was fantastic work from Simon Finnegan.
And Fiji think it's no try. They're already lined up here for the next play. We get confirmation now from the video referee.
And Fiji will play the ball on the Irish 10-metre line. It's Storer who was denied the try there by some fantastic Irish defence. It's going to have to be equally as good this time, because here they come once more with Noelia.
And again, Ireland taking a gamble, coming out of the one line of defence. On that occasion, it was Scott Griggs. Oh, that's an error. That play on.
And here's the hero of the moment, Finnegan, who picks it up. Well, he scored a try against Samoa. Wonderful try that was as well. And he's come up with something just as important at the start of this second half. His involvement in that tackle.
Well, an in-your-face defensive mindset from Ireland, particularly on their own try line, has seen off a further Fijian challenge here now, and Fiji just not quite getting the control around the play the ball area. They've conceded yet another penalty here, slowing down in the ruck, holding the Irish player down for too long.
It's the former London Bronco and Harlequins player Nick Bradley Qualilawa who was the guilty party there. Familiar figure to Broncos and Quinn supporters. But now back out here, and a Manly player. But Ireland relieved to get the penalty that takes them up to the halfway line. Tandy, West Tigers now, struggles to get to his feet to play the ball. Fitzpatrick, great work from the little man. Fitzpatrick's got support on the outside, and the support is Corcoran, but Corcoran hasn't got the legs. But nevertheless, the Irish are only 11 metres out. They're massing now, are the Irish. Here is Tandy. Tandy, an audacious kick from him. They'll get another set of 6. They almost got a try there. Almost a mess up from Uarte.
Well, Tora just got the fingertips to it in time, I think it was.
What a break by Fitzpatrick. Look, stepping, dummying and going through the gap. He found Corcoran on the inside, but there was no way he'd outpace Uarte to the line. He controlled possession. They have one more chance at it. I don't know whether he dropped it or just delicately stabbed it through, wasn't it? Kicked by Tandy. And Tora just about grounded, according to Ashley Klein. Good first goal line dropout that Fiji will have to make in this match.
Stay behind, guys.
So, 1 minute they're denying Fiji a try at the other end. And now they've got Fiji under pressure, forced to drop out from underneath their own posts. Griggs, the captain. And they come charging back with Corcoran. He's tackled on the 30-metre line, gets to his feet to play the ball. Lee Duran. McAlorum, Corcoran, and Griggs again. Ooh, almost through it. Needed to be a good tackle from Uarte. It was, I think. No, I beg your pardon. It was Semisi Tora. But here's Fitzpatrick again. And once more, the footwork almost wrong-footing the Fijian defenders. Bradley Qualilawa it was with the tackle, and Fiji have got the ball back.
Well, a short Fiji defence, wasn't it, there on the line. McAlorum comes out of the acting half-back. He's looking to try and put Platt into a hole, but he put him face on face to a Fijian defender. And a missed opportunity, you'd have to say, there for Ireland.
Yeah, you made the tackle straight away, though.
Steps out, just trying to thread him through the hole, but Nagama's Defensive read is a good one. Stood directly in front of Platt, forced the ball free.
So Fiji in possession, and Fiji in the lead, 12-10 here. That's good news for, I'm sure that's news that'll be being cheered in Rochdale. The Fijian community there, of course, Rochdale, a long association with Fijian Rugby League, because that was where Fijians really started to make their mark in the game, and the Rochdale Fijian community, you can be sure, will be sitting watching this and cheering the Batty on here, while the Irish supporters will be cheering their side on. Both nations on the brink of World Cup history here, and it's Fiji in possession. Ireland need to defend strongly. Fiji up to the halfway line with Uarte. That's the 5th tackle. And what's the kick going to be like? It was a little audacious chip over the top from Groom last time, but this one's straight down the middle and into the hands of Damien.
They're both okay. That's the main injury news for Ireland. Not so for Fiji. Sevenaya Karoi suffered a split eye halfway through that first half. He's had 4 stitches in the injury and he's still on the sidelines.
Here is Griggs. Ireland just trailing by the 2 points here. McIlorum. Fiji appeal for a forward pass as McIlorum popped it up for Lee Duran. And here is Platt. Platt hoists that kick straight down the middle of the field. But Hayne under no great pressure there.
And again, they're kicking to the wrong person. He's proved very solid as Haynes. What they have to do is go to the 2 wingers. Tadulala and Uarte are not the most confident under the high ball. And yet, Ireland are ignoring that fact.
Here's Semi Tadulala. Of course, he's had problems with a broken arm, and then the penalty goes against Tadulala, and Ashley Klein indicating that an elbow was used there by the Bradford man.
Well, this could be a massive turning point in this game and the history of Irish Rugby League here. They're going to get possession here now, and they've played well. They've started the second half far better than they did in the first 40. Semi Tadulala used his elbow twice on McIlorum, who performed a legitimate tackle. And as a result of that, now Ireland with a perfect opportunity. Can they find any fluency? Is there any teamwork, team play to break through the Fijian defence? It will take more, I feel, than just individual efforts.
Jed Corcoran plays the ball. It's with Eamon O'Carroll now, but he really took that pass standing still. And the Irish supporters finding their voice here at the Skilled Stadium.
Did well there, Scott Griggs. It looked as though he was going to be using a shepherd. Just stopped in time.
They're in possession with Finnegan now. Finnegan takes them closer still to the Fijian line. The Fijian defence is rough and solid, and the kick goes in. Duran will chase it, but it was too strong from Fitzpatrick. Much too strong. And Fiji are off the hook.
Well, a really poor set from Ireland. They didn't look like a team that had been training together for weeks, did they? Well, that's the pressure of the occasion.
So Fiji still clinging on to this 12-10 lead. Ashton Sims told to get to his feet and stop milking the penalty. Uarte takes the tackle. And here's Tadulala again, and Tadulala felt that. I think that was a bit of payback time from McIlorum, perhaps. Bradley Qualifier pops that ball up. And it's Osei Sadro. Play that ball about 40 metres out. Storer now bumps off the first challenge. Is then tackled on the 30-metre line. And it's with Jared Hayne, and Hayne, he hoists the kick this time. It's a good one. It's a high one. It's hanging. Platt is looking at it, and Platt eventually will deal with it. Richards couldn't, but fortunately for the Irish, it came back off Richards into the hands of Michael Platt.
Well, just look at the difference between the last 2 kicks we've seen. One was a high one which Jared Hayne took without any pressure, 20 metres from his own try line. This kick here, Ireland are taking on or about their own try line, with numbers rushing down on them, players under pressure, Irish players unsure who's going to take it. Richards points to Platt, then eventually has a go at it, and ultimately Platt is carried over the dead ball line, and Fiji get the ball back, and that's a massive difference at this point and this level of the game.
I wonder whether the efforts, the mighty efforts that the Irish have put in against the Tongans and the Samoans is just beginning to catch up with them. Not only physical but emotional as well. And McAlorum is left down there. He went in very high. Well, he went in very heavily anyway on Sukanaveta, and he's come off second best as Wigan's Mike McAlorum.
Well, maybe this could just change it for... It looks as though Bob Beswick will be brought back into the fray. McAlorum still receiving treatment in back play.
Ireland not square. Fiji will get the penalty. McAlorum on his knees.
And that's a big concern for Ireland. They need to get 13 defenders back on the field. Down to just 12 men.
Well, Beswick is on the sidelines there. They're trying to get him off as quickly as possible.
Need a trainer, got you. Need a trainer.
Oh, he really caught it.
Beswick comes on. And
Need a trainer, guys.
McAlorum felt that, and there's another Irish player, I think, in trouble. It's Griggs, I think, who's having to come off. There must be blood cut on his brow. Yep.
Well, in the space of 1 minute, that's taken up 2 of the interchanges that they're allowed for Ireland. That sort of makes a difference to the coach now. He has to consider who he's going to rest and rotate in the next 30 minutes.
Well, Liam Finn is available.
Hold that line.
And Finn it is who'll, I think, come on. And Finn eventually on the field as Fiji take the tap and not come on the charge with Sadrau. Sadrau just short of the try line. Ireland managed to drive him back another metre or so. But another test for this Irish defence. It stood firm in the second half. Can it do so here as Bradley Qualilawa plays the ball, struggling to get free of the tackle. Littler could have been penalised there. Aaron Groom puts the brakes on, but he's brought down. It's a good tackle. It was from Jed Corcoran. The ball lobbed out wide to the captain, Wes Nagama. 4 tackles gone. Can Ireland survive this? The alarm bells ringing for this Irish side as Aaron Groom ships the ball on. It's not a good pass, and Jared Hayne down on his knees to pick that ball up. And that's the 5th tackle. Ireland have done well here if they can defend this little kick ahead. And Blanche letting that one run and just getting away with it. In fact, I think Damien Blanche played at that ball.
He did. It'll be a drop out from underneath the sticks. Neat little kick through there. And Damien Blanche had to come to the rescue, could not take the risk.
Well, I may sound repetitive, but Fiji are being rather repetitive here. They forced 2 goal line dropouts back to back here. One through a high kick, now through a short kick in the in-goal area. And it's a classic example of building pressure on your opponent's line until ultimately they crack. Can Ireland defy the rugby league logic here, which says that after probably 18 tackles, somebody will fall off one and a Fijian player will go through to score. Good strong chase from the kick.
And that halted the progress of Sukanaveta, but they're coming powering up the middle of the Fijians.
Well, they're putting in some big hits, aren't they? Jed Corcoran on this occasion. But how much is it taking out of them? The energy that they've had to produce over the last 10 minutes. Could it just soak up and leave them vulnerable?
Sukanaveta is a chunky number 9 for the Fijians. Tackled on the 10-metre line. He's to his feet slowly. It's been played in a really humid and hot atmosphere here, and it's a fast and frantic game. It's got to be draining on the players. Again, that's the 5th tackle. Ireland managing to keep him at bay as the kick goes in, and this time they force another goal line dropout. I don't know whether they needed to play at that one, but after what they've gone through in this tournament already.
No, I think Michael Platt had no option. The ball bounced back. It looked as though it was going to roll dead in goal, and then it just took a wicked bounce back. Look at this. He thought it's easy, leave it, and then watch it. Whoa! Let it go.
Michael Platt has been caught out once in this tournament, and that was against Tonga. He wasn't going to make the same mistake twice there, the Irish fullback. So that's a 4th goal line dropout that Fiji have forced. And that's another mighty kick.
It's important to get up there in numbers, and they have.
Jared Hayne runs it back and is stopped on the halfway line.
Beautiful kick there from Pat Richards. That could lift their spirits.
2 tackles gone, but Ireland really on the ropes here. They're taking a pummeling. Can Fiji land the knockout blow? Storer Irish trying to do that. Up the middle goes the number 14.
He's lifted the spirits of the Fijians.
Aaron
very
Grew now.
well.
Here's Bradley Qualilawa. The ball out wide on.
Oh.
Richards so nearly there, nearly on the end of that one.
It was a huge gamble. Pat Richards lunged forward. Great work here from James Storer. And then they got the ball out wide. Oh, just couldn't get it on the second occasion. He's furious.
Pat Richards so close. Well, we've seen problems for the Irish. Let's get news of just what the situation is with Ben. Hang on a minute, because Fiji are on the attack. Here's Uarte. Uarte very close to that try line. The ball is popped up to Ashton Sims, legs pumping, the Brisbane Bronco goes for the try line. But the Irish muscle up to hold him out this time. Storer, change of direction from him. Here's Noilia. Noilia drops the ball back. They are in. It's Jason Bukuya who'll get the try eventually. Ireland just ran out of numbers. The gallant Irish defence just wasn't there to stop Jason Bukuya getting the try that increases Fiji's lead here. The Cronulla Sharks player finishing off that move.
Well, there's no disgrace in this for Ireland. I think this is the 25th consecutive play that Fiji have had in possession. Eventually they've gone through to score, but it's a little wide of the goalpost, and that makes the kick a little harder. And at 6-point advantage, Ireland are still in this. He's turned the ball back in the inside, and the Irish jerseys can't get there to prevent Jason Bukuya from scoring, to the relief, I think, of the Fijian side. There's always a sense of frustration when you're continually pounding your opponent's line but unable to break through it. 6-point advantage isn't a winning lead in this game. Neither would I say would 8 points be. And Ireland need to hope that they can get their hands back on the ball, because in a 10-minute period you can be blown out of the World Cup without touching the possession.
Well, Ireland have never been 8 points behind or more behind in any of their games so far. They've managed to keep tabs on the opposition. They've managed to hang on. But if Fiji just start to put a bit of daylight between themselves now, then Ireland could see this game disappearing into the distance. So can Wes Nagama land this conversion to give them that cushion? He has done. 18-10 the scoreline to Nagama and his Fijian side, and the Bati are celebrating.
He's had a fine game, this fella, Wes Nagama, and I must say that Ireland didn't have the luck of the Irish on this occasion. You'll see Sean Gleeson, he lunges out with the right arm and it drops perfectly for the loose forward. Jason Bukuya.
And that kick's gone out on the full, the restart out on the full. Richards just putting too much into that.
There's every chance of a back-to-back try here for Fiji. Said Ireland haven't touched the ball. They're going to be back in their own half defending here. The kick clearly over the dead ball line.
Well, we praise him, don't we, Pat Richards, having so much strength and length from the kicks, and then he comes up with a very bad error. Well, they've got away with this. What have they?
No. That one looked as though it was going to find touch. And Damien Blanche, relieved to see it take a bit of a leg break and come back in the field of play. And Ireland, well, they have got away with it. Or have they? They have. It gets better. They get the penalty. High tackle, says Ashley Clyde. Now I think we can go down to the sidelines. Ben.
Some luck for the Irish there, Bill, but very unlucky on the injury front. As captain Griggs was absent and off the field with a cut left eye during that try, and that cost them dearly with the touchdown from Bukuya. Mike McAlorum also suffering some dizziness on the sideline after that clash with Sukana Veta, and the concern on the Ireland bench is how many substitutions they've already used up.
Might need another one after that challenge, but fair dues. Leaderand gets to his feet and gets on with it.
He hits him, doesn't he? This Alipati Noile. Stand off. Boom. He hits him like a loose forward.
Bill, I always think defence wins big games. In 3 tackles, Ireland haven't advanced a metre downfield. In fact, with 4, what have they made, a metre or 2? But they tapped the ball in about the same place that they were at the start of this set.
Well, here's Gareth Haggerty, who was off early on, of course, with that shoulder problem. They get another penalty to the Irish.
That's a dream for Ireland.
Two in there.
Ball was stolen.
There's no time. It's not a time to start rushing. Just control it out there. The coach Kelly will have sent this message out now. Come on. Do not panic. There is still plenty of time. Only 8 points adrift. It's easily dragged back.
Well, they've shown great resilience in this tournament of this Irish side, a side that was here to make up the numbers according to a lot of the host media. Well, everybody else was here to make up the numbers according to members of the host media. Here is Haggerty and gets a good offload away. Fitzpatrick now. Fitzpatrick finds Finn. Finn comes back across the field, scored a wonderful try in that victory over Samoa, but he's tackled about 9 metres out. Bezic. Here's Finnegan. Finnegan taking him off in the middle of the field. He's opposite numbered. Jason Bukuya with the tackle.
They've got to look for a second phase. Dummy runners. They've got to try to drag this Fijian defence out.
Fitzpatrick fires the ball up. Good offload, it's back to Fitzpatrick. A little dummy from Salford's City Reds player.
The kick for Pat Richards. They have to get it to Pat Richards' side.
They've gone the other way. They've gone with a short kick. The ball is still loose, but Ireland were offside. The Irish fans thinking they could celebrate a try there, but Ireland ahead of the kicker. Oh, look at Liam Finn. He is a mess. There is blood being spilt in the Irish cause tonight.
Well, he won't get much longer on the field, will he? Bang, clash of heads.
Oh, dear me.
Bonamatarate.
Yeah, Bonamataratu.
2, 3 or 4, it didn't matter.
Those are the stitches he'll need, Steve.
Oh, look at that.
Dewsbury's Liam Finn. So Grix, well, ironically, Grix has now got patched up. He's got a great big bandage around his head, and he's going to replace Liam Finn, who's going to need similar treatment.
If they lose any more, Terry O'Connor and Barry McDermott will be pulling on the green jersey again and going out there. They've lost so many players to blood-bin injuries. What a tough clash to Fiji.
Let's be fair, Phil. We want Ireland to have a chance.
Oh, Nakama felt that.
Oh, is this getting tasty? We're into the final quarter, and you'd think this was the start of the game.
It's Sukanaveta who, in fact, was on the receiving end there, and then they just got a little bit carried away there. And Ashley Klein again, very cool and calm in the midst of all this.
To be fair to Ashley Klein, I think he's been the best referee in this tournament. But aren't they giving it to each other?
And he says Haggerty isn't standing square. I think that's a tough call against
Ireland.
Ireland.
It is a big call, especially late in the game. You can't be pinpoint accurate all throughout the 80 minutes.
Koroi plays the ball for the Fijians.
They've got to try to force the error.
Sadrau tackled.
And with some of the contacts and the crashes into each other, it could very well come off.
Here's Wes Nagama. 3 tackles gone. Off goes Akila Uarte. Uarte almost finding his way through for a second try. Platt penalised. He flopped in there.
I'd go for the 2 here. I really would. Calm things down.
Scott.
And Scott Grix is being summoned over by Ashley Klein for a warning. As if the Irish haven't got enough problems.
4 penalties in this ruck area in very quick succession. You want to sort it, okay, otherwise you know what's going to happen.
So
right, talk to the lads now. You've got time, talk to them.
Sin binning is the next option. And Grix, well, mutters something. What's he supposed to do? Sort of wander among his players and hand out a little flyer, print a memo?
They're going to get a chance to look here at Uarte. They did well to stop him. He's such a handful when he stepped through the tackle. Platt and Bezic involved. And I think that Ireland will be relieved here that Fiji have elected to kick at goal. I don't think there's much difference between 8 and 10 points from an Irish perspective. They'll have to score twice anyway.
Well, to be fair, Grix is going amongst his men, but maybe it's not the warning that he's handing out. It's words of encouragement, just that.
Well, we heard Terry O'Connor in the interview before the game saying that this game's about no regrets. At the end of your career, you look back with one chance of going through to the World Cup semi-final. You've got to give everything you have here now in the remainder of this match.
And Wes Nagama makes no mistake with that. Another success with the boot, his 4th success in the game, and Fiji ahead by 20 points to 10 here now. Nagama kicking that penalty goal for his side.
Well, when you stretch to a 10-point lead, it means that Ireland are left with no option but to try to force this ball. They've got to try perhaps force the error. They're not going to go for a short one. By the way, he's put the ball down there. It's going to be long into the corner.
It's another deep one. This time it stays in the field of play. And Ireland come to meet the receiver. So into the final quarter of this game. And the Fijian supporters just singing the praises of their side.
It'll be interesting, Bill, to see how Fiji handle these final moments. Will they just close up shop? No, they won't.
That's not in their nature.
I'm going to say, but there are times when you've just got to try to close it down. England should have done that when they were leading by 24 points to 8 against the Kiwis. It's not a time for change and panic. It's a time for what we call closing the game down. Will Fiji do it?
Sean Gleeson was deemed to have lifted Koroi into a dangerous position. I thought maybe Ireland had to go for a short kick-off. They need the hands on the ball, kicking it deep. Really, Fiji's error rate is so low in the second half that you're unlikely to force a mistake at that point. Oh, here they go, crashing through.
Ashley Klein summed it up there as he awarded that penalty. He said, come on guys, that's 4 penalties in a row against you, to the Irish. He said, you're killing yourselves. And they are doing that because Fiji are on the attack again with Bradley Qualilawa.
And the strong running from the hooker, number 9, Sukanaveta, been a highlight in the second half.
Stora. Vanamataratu almost went without that. Stora will go himself. He's been denied a try already in this first half. He's been denied a try again by the Irish. What's he got to do to get over that try line? Bradley Qualilawa, Jared Hayne, and now Aaron Groom. Groom on to Sukanaveta. Sukanaveta to Oli Nailia. Nailia still going. Ireland again defending for all their worth, but this must be exhausting for the men in green. Groom stabs the kick in. Hayne is challenging. Oh, he did ever so well there, Jared Hayne, and he's taken a knock for his pains, but I think that he's got that ball down.
Well, we're all thankful that the post have some protection on them. The padding may have just helped him a little. I've no doubt he's in pain with the speed with which he collided. His non-selected teammates are happy. They're starting the song sing-along. Is he onside? Yes, he is. Behind the line by a meter, I would say.
Beautiful kick, wasn't it, by the scrum half, Aaron Groom. He's got plenty of brains, this kid, and so has the fullback, Jared Haynes. Makes contact, no problem with getting the ball down, but he ricocheted off the post.
Parramatta's Jared Hayne, I think, has got that try. It's video ref Phil Cooley who's having a look at this one, and I think he'll award this one to the fullback. Ireland desperately hoping not, but yes, the Fijian bench celebrates, and no pain, no Hayne.
Well, it's a pity they don't award some bravery medals, because Ireland deserve it in this World Cup. The way they've hung on in the line, you see 4 men around the ruck, but here you see a player who 2 years ago was voted the best young player in Australia. Possibly his game awareness sets him apart from the other players on this field. Timed the run to perfection, had the skills to collect the ball despite the goalpost. The upright kneeler knocked him out, but I think he's the one who's knocked Ireland out of this World Cup.
Pretty good tactics as well, the ability to realise that Ireland have had to do a lot of defending over the last 10 minutes, so therefore the kick and chase would have left them a little bit short.
Paul McGregor just on the field there on the in your shot, assistant coach to this Fijian side, as the captain Wes Nagama lines up. There should be another 2 points for his team. Well, Scott Grix comes back towards the halfway line as Fiji celebrate. Meanwhile, for the restart, Grix very quickly back to the halfway line to get things going. Fiji ahead 26-10.
Beautiful kick, wasn't it? That's right. And the fullback Hayne knew exactly what he was going to do. maybe not ricochet into the post in the process.
Well, Ireland are now trailing by 26 points to 10, and they have problems on the sidelines. Ben?
The injury is really costly for Ireland, Bill. The injury to Liam Finn there for his right eye, well, there wasn't time to stitch him and he's come back bandaged, but in his absence they scored that try from Hayne just as when Griggs was off the field with a left eye problem earlier. Bukuya went over for Fiji.
And another problem because Pat Richards very slowly getting back into line. He took a knock from that restart. Well, they've given their all, have the Irish, for the cause, to the extent that they've all had tattoos to show their loyalty to the team. But Fiji now making progress with ominous ease. On the last, Bradley Qualilawa thumps the kick in, and it's not a bad one, but it's just too strong, and Richards sees that one run dead.
To be fair, Fiji have played exceptionally well in the second half. They controlled the ruck. They've had players who they could come off the bench. I've been impressed with James Storer.
Well, what a good restart that is. That's quick thinking, but Ireland not quick enough to get there.
He had to find the sideline, Bill. That was the play. They would have got head and feet at the scrum had he been able to get the ball to bounce in the field of play and roll over the sideline. That's what he was aiming for. As it is now, it's just more tackling practice.
Marcus Damien!
Coming up to 11 minutes on the clock here, so it looks as though Ireland's World Cup odyssey is going to end here on the Gold Coast. But they really have been one of the highlights of the competition so far. Don't write them off yet! Oh, if only that had come up for them. Instead it's going to come up for Uarte. And it's back to 6. That's the second possible interception attempt they've had, and it hasn't stuck. And instead they find themselves backpedaling once more.
Bit of a problem with the left shoulder there for the winger Uarte.
Sukanaveta comes across field and then straightens it up. James Storer now. Storer finds Aaron Groom. Groom onto Jared Hayne. Hayne shapes to put the kick in. It's a poor one and straight into the arms of Damien Blanche, and Ireland have that back. Have the Irish got anything left in the tank in the last 10 minutes here?
I think they're finding it very difficult indeed, because the way that Fiji have, as I said, controlled it from the dummy half position, they've been playing the ball a lot quicker than what they did in the first half, and it's meant that Ireland have had to work overtime in defence. The one wonderful aspect, though, Bill, about this Fijian side is that the Fijian government has made it quite clear if they did win tonight that they would be pumping thousands of dollars into the schools and preparing the youngsters to play rugby league. So often they've had to be overshadowed by rugby union in the island of Fiji, and I must say this will be a huge lift for rugby league in their country.
Well, just as the exploits of this Irish side will be for rugby league in Ireland, because they can take so much credit, and for all the people who've worked to develop the game there, and they're volunteers, they do it out of their love of the sport, and this will be an inspiration, I'm sure.
Well, let's hope some of this Irish squad are able to go over there to Ireland whenever they possibly can and get involved in the growth and development of the 13-a-side code of rugby.
Well, let's hope they can capitalise it, because so often a team puts in an effort like this and then it isn't taken advantage of it. Their efforts aren't rewarded, and this Irish effort needs to be recognised. Here they are with Bradley Qualilawa. Play on, says the referee. He just managed to stop before he got in a tangle with Vonamataratu.
Well, I do hope that the country of Ireland do recognise them, because this has been a wonderful, brave effort. They were not given any chance whatsoever.
Jared Hayne really teasing the Irish defence now.
Not only that, Bill, you know, there was there's a knock. There was a point, you know, where Ireland actually went to the airport and all the tickets were made out to Samoa. They actually thought that Samoa would be coming up here into the Gold Coast, and rather surprisingly and ironically, they had to change all the names.
Well, Ireland will get head and feet at the scrum.
It would be nice to finish with a flourish, wouldn't it?
It would, to sign off with another try. You can see there's two Irish players out there with their heads swathed in bandages. Liam Finn can't possibly see where he's going. It's like he's wearing a balaclava. Off goes Bob Bezic. So many of these Irish players have enhanced their reputations as well, and the youngsters will go back better for the experience. They can take a lot out of this. Here's Tandy up to the halfway line for the Irish.
And not just the players, Bill, because, you know, the backroom staff, the coach and all the players, they have really lifted for the team. It has been a wonderful team effort, and they should feel extremely proud. Can they finish off?
That look forward. Gleeson wasn't going to hang around. Stabs the kick in. It finds the touchline, though.
It will take something incredibly special for Ireland to score now, because Fiji have decided that this is the start of their preparation for the semi-final. The game's effectively won, but they're working now defensively on the concentration, on their organisation. Whether Australia win or not, they'll know they've been in a very physical game when you look at the bodies and the blood that Ireland have spilt. There's pain involved when you take on the batting.
It's Fiji who have possession from the scrum. Tajalala takes the first tackle. So Ireland, quarter-finalists in the 2000 World Cup when they ran into England and pushed them all the way in that memorable match at Headingley. Again, denied a semi-final place here tonight. And it'll be Fiji and their coach Joe Dakitoga who'll be celebrating a bit of history for them. Well, at least one of these gallant sides has something to cheer about, and the Irish supporters have been fantastic during this competition. The Blarney Army, as they've been known as, have really rallied to the cause. But look at Fiji now. It's they who are finishing with a flourish.
Excellent rugby league football. You know, before this game started, I thought Fiji could not play controlled football. They have tonight. It's been superb. Oh, Platt got there in time.
An air shot from Damien Blanche, and Michael Platt was there to tidy up.
Well, this will be the 5th goal line dropout that Ireland have been forced to make. And that tells you, doesn't it, about Fiji's control on the game. When they've got to the end of the field, if they haven't scored, they've managed to kick the ball and trap their opponents in this priceless bit of land behind the try line.
Well, Richards try and find touch again this time.
There's been some really good starts from Fiji, you know. I mean, the fullback Hain, he's been outstanding. Guama is led by example, but I've been impressed with the halfback combination of Noile and Groom. They've all done their work. They've shared the load. It's been an impressive display from the Fijians.
Ashton Sims plays that ball. Here is one of those impressive players, the fullback Jared Hain. Among the try scorers for this Fijian side. And weary Irish defenders there finally bring down Noilea. He plays the ball pretty wearily as well. And Jared Hain almost stepping his way through. Gleeson manages to hold him up. It's about 5 minutes to go here. Groom puts the kick in. Richards is up. Richards has knocked it on. Fiji have it back again.
Well, this is just torture. Fijian torture of the Irish.
Surely they're in here. Ireland, you'd think there was only 2 points in this, not 16. Defending their line again, heroically. Right on that try line as Fiji play the ball. Storer. It's going to go out wide to Uarte. Uarte will get in for the try, his second of the night for Akila Uarte. He got a hat-trick against France in that 42 points to 6 win that ignited the competition for Fiji. It ignited the competition full stop. And he's been pretty hot tonight as Akila Uarte getting his second try.
Well, the rising star to come from this World Cup benefits here. Richards gets in the air. He's outnumbered 2-1, and the error gives Fiji 5 more tackles here on the line. What a lovely pass there. Give your wingman an early ball. Let him have a one-on-one with his opponent. And that's what Wes Nakama does. Quick transfer of the ball through his hands, puts the ball in front of Uarte, who rides through the tackle of Richards and just confirms Fiji here now as clearly the best side on the night. and the ones to meet Australia in the semi-final on Sunday.
Brilliant display, especially in the second half. As I mentioned before, the Fijians, they have the tendency to just use flair, not control. But tonight, especially in the final 40 minutes, it has been a wonderful effort. They have not panicked whatsoever. Ireland are blooded, but they can feel proud of their efforts. And I think they would have to agree that they have been beaten tonight by a very talented outfit indeed.
Well, we wondered whether the presence of a U2 tribute act before the game might be a good omen for the Irish. It's not to be, but they can take pride from what they've achieved, not just tonight, but in the tournament as a whole. And never mind a blood-red sky, there are blood-red Irish shirts there just to testify to the effort they have put in as Wes Nagama lines up this conversion. Probably the most difficult kick the Fijian captain has faced, and he's just missed. I thought that was going to sneak in, but it came back into the field of play. Nagama misses with that one, but Fiji on target then for their first World Cup semi-final appearance.
Well, so little known about Fiji before this World Cup, and little known about this man. At the end of it, it will be a household name in every country in which rugby league is played and watched. Nagama hits the upright with a kick, it bounces out, it's irrelevant at this point in time. You know, everybody talked about Samoa and possibly Tonga before this tournament started as possible semi-final candidates. But it's Fiji who have risen through from that Polynesian group and offer the biggest threat to the reigning champions. As we see a knock-on from Nagria.
It was the Park spaceman, Samisi Tora, who knocked that one on. And a pat on the head for him, but pats on the back for the Fijians. No wonder, well, Stanley Jean said during the course of this World Cup that his involvement in the first was what got his career going. I wonder who will be the Stanley Jean of this World Cup, whether somebody will be picked up. I know that Sheffield Eagles have signed the Papua New Guinea forward Trevor Paxton. They've picked him up. Incidentally, talking of Park spacemen, they've signed Dennis Moran for 2009. So that's where he's going next, to the town of the dish. Here is Eamon O'Carroll. Well, he couldn't get a start at Wigan, hasn't had a start at Wigan, in fact, bench player, but he has been one of the regulars for Ireland in this campaign and hasn't disappointed. And can Ireland, in the last couple of minutes here, can they just give a sign of what they're about in this competition? They can, and they will, and it'll be Damien Blanche. But who else? One of the players of this tournament, Damien Blanche, and another player who has had his knockers in this country. They were saying, who is he? A nobody Aussie who went over to England and has made a career out of this game. That is the perfect way to answer people like that.
We've seen so little interplay though prior to this. Look, nice short ball on the outside and a short pass back with some support on the inside. Earlier in this game when Ireland was still in the match, it was one-man efforts, wasn't it? Taking on the Fijian defence. Here a nice combination of three players working in a short space has resulted in a first try for Blanche for quite some time in the second half. In fact, the first try of the second half for them.
His fifth try in this tournament, Damien Blanche, and he's also had that try disallowed against Samoa. Length of the field effort, and they brought it back for a knock-on.
And there's no better place than in the World Cup to show your wares, and Blanche has done that. Oh, that's not the best from Pat Richards, is it?
A weary attempt from Pat Richards. But it looks as though Ireland are going to have the last word. Even if it's going to be Fiji who go through to the semi-finals, Damien Blanche has given those supporters something to smile about.
Stay behind.
And the clock counting down. Jared Hayne just making sure he eats up as much of the time as he can as possible. And in fact, I doubt whether the game will restart. There goes the hooter. Ashley Klein agrees. Full time here on the Gold Coast. And The golden prize, if you like, goes to the Fijians, who go through to the semi-final, but it's Ireland who go home with so much pride